everybody. My name is Dante Gibbs. I'm a first year student at Chattahoochee Tech, and my research presentation is on the Tawano people of Puerto Rico. The main reason why I chose this topic is because I'm Puerto Rican myself, and I have family that lives in Puerto Rico, specifically in San Juan, which is the capital. So a little bit about the Tawano people. They are Arawak people, which means Carib, and they reside in along the coast of Guyana. As a whole, they were divided into three subsets. The first subset is the Western Tawanos. Today, they reside in Jamaica, most of Cuba, and some of the Bahamas. The Classic Tawano, which is the Puerto Rican, mainly the Puerto Ricans. They reside in Hispaniola and Puerto Rico, of course. And lastly, the Eastern Tawanos, which reside in the Northern Lesser Antilles. Um, the way they govern themselves, they lived in small villages called batais and organized into clans that were led by chiefs, other known as caciques. The priests were known as bohiques, and those were like the highest. That how can I put this? That was the highest rank you could get in the village, if you will. And a side note that I found interesting is that there were female chiefs, and which throughout our discussion of ancient civilizations, that was very uncommon. So I thought that was very interesting. But that was very seldom that there were female chiefs throughout the kingdoms. Throughout the kingdom, the different social classes were there was the noble rulers, which were the caciques, also known as chiefs, and then the priests. Those are the highest level of social class, and then under them were the professional warriors known as nitianos, and then the lowest class, which were the workers, known as nobianos. Um, there were different hierarchies between different villages. So, let's say there's a group of 10 villages, four of them could have more rank over the other six. And there was no single Tawano kingdom, but it was just hundreds of politically independent villages spread across the land of Puerto Rico. Um, Often, though, they would combine villages under one ruler to become stronger politically, militarily, and economically against their, I'm going to say, rivals, which were the Carib Indians tribes that would try to invade their subsets. In their economy, they had no specific form of currency, but they lived well off of trading, being that the land provided so much like good farming areas and whatnot. So the land was overflowing with resources, which allowed them to grow many types of crops, and they were able to farm cotton off the land. Some of the types of crops were cassava, guava, which is a fruit, potatoes, obviously, and beans and peanuts, etc., etc. Um, Also, being that they were along the coastline, they used fishing as a main way of trading and actually nourishing themselves, because I mean at the time they did not have the wheels, so they weren't able to hoard stuff through trading along with the other tribes and whatnot. And obviously in 1492, that's when Christopher Columbus sailed over and discovered the land, and from then on, he kind of just dwindled their power away as a sole nation and took it over to his own. And um, another interesting fact about their society is everyone in the family and everyone in each class had a sole purpose, and everyone had to work. It was kind of required that you worked, and it wasn't necessarily to pay taxes back to the chiefs or anything, but it was just like everybody had their role to play, and if you didn't play it, then obviously you were frowned upon. Mm. Oh, another thing, while they didn't have the wheel, they did have boats, because they're along the coast, so they used boats to trade their seafoods with any of their crops, to share their musical traditions, just to explore the land. But they had not necessarily explored the land as a whole, being that most of their villages were like I'm not gonna say along the coast necessarily, but they didn't reach inland more so until the Spanish conquest. Because I mean, once the Spanish came over, they brought with them materials that allowed them to explore more into the land, if that makes sense. I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation, and thank you.